The Demogorgon. The Demogorgon is where it all began. Season 1. Standing tall with a humanoid body covered in slick, grayish skin, this creature looks unsettling enough. But it's the face that really messes you up. No eyes, no nose, just a head that splits open like a grotesque flower, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth spiraling inward. It tracks through sound, vibrations, and especially the smell of blood. It can also phase between dimensions, literally ripping through walls, ceilings, or floors without warning. One second you're safe, the next second it's dragging you into the upside down. And here's the worst part, it doesn't kill immediately. The Demogorgon captures its victims and stores them in the upside down like it's building a food supply. That's what happened to Will Byers, and it's absolutely chilling. The group tries everything, weapons, fire, traps, nothing works. In the end, it takes 11 channeling every ounce of her psychic power to disintegrate it completely. But the Demogorgon wasn't the real villain, it was just a pawn controlled by something far more intelligent and sinister. Demobats. Fast forward to season 4 and we meet Demobats. These things are smaller than Demogorgons, but don't let that fool you, they're absolutely deadly. Flying piranhas with leathery wings and mouths full of teeth. What makes Demobats so terrifying is that they attack in swarms. One or two, maybe you survive. But when dozens come at you at once, biting, slashing, and wrapping their tails around you like tentacles, you're done. They're also directly linked to Vecna's hive mind, acting as his eyes and ears across the upside down. If one sees you, Vecna sees you. Steve Harrington gets a brutal taste of this when he dives through the Watergate portal. The Demobats latch onto him immediately, dragging him down and tearing into his skin. Watching that scene, you genuinely think Steve might not make it, but the most heartbreaking moment with these creatures belongs to Eddie Munson. To buy his friends time, Eddie lures an entire swarm toward himself, fighting them off with nothing but a makeshift shield and a spear. He fights bravely, but the sheer number overwhelms him. Eddie dies in the Upside Down, giving one of the most heroic and tragic sacrifices in the entire series. Demodogs. If the Demogorgon is the adult form, Demodogs are the teenagers. Introduced in Season 2, these creatures are the intermediate stage of a Demogorgon's life cycle. They start as tiny slug-like larvae, grow rapidly, and transform into four-legged predators with claws and teeth that can rip through almost anything. Dustin accidentally discovers one of these larvae and decides to keep it as a pet, naming it Dart. At first, Dart seems harmless, but that changes fast. Dart grows overnight, develops an appetite for living creatures, and eventually eats Dustin's mom's cat. That's when Dustin realizes he's not dealing with some exotic pet. He's raising a monster. Unlike the solitary Demogorgon, Demodogs hunt in packs, and that's what makes them so dangerous. They move with perfect coordination because they're all controlled by one mind, the Mind Flayer. During the attack on Hawkins' lab, a pack of Demodogs swarms the building, tearing through soldiers and security systems like they're nothing. But here's the twist. When Dustin encounters Dart again near the end of the season, the creature hesitates. It recognizes him. That moment shows that even monsters from the Upside Down can retain traces of emotion and memory. The Mind Flayer, shadow form. Now we're getting to the real nightmare fuel. The Mind Flayer appears in Season 2 as a massive black cloud, a living storm of swirling particles that moves across the Upside Down like a sentient shadow. This form represents the Mind Flayer's true nature, an otherworldly intelligence that doesn't need a body to exist or destroy. What makes this version so terrifying is its reach. It doesn't attack with claws or teeth. It infects. It controls. Everything it touches becomes part of its hive mind. Demodogs, parasites, even humans, all turned into extensions of its will. In Season 2, it finds the perfect victim, Will Byers. After being rescued from the Upside Down, Will starts experiencing visions, sudden chills, and intense headaches. But these aren't just flashbacks. The Mind Flayer is using Will as a spy, seeing through his eyes, feeling through his senses, and gathering information about Hawkins in real time. The scariest part? Will has no control. He becomes a puppet, and the Mind Flayer pulls the strings. By the end of the season, the group manages to drive it out of Will, and 11 closes the portal. But the Mind Flayer doesn't give up. It learns, it adapts, and in Season 3, it comes back with a plan that's even more horrifying. The Flayed. The flayed are hands down one of the most disturbing elements in Stranger Things. They're not monsters in the traditional sense. They're ordinary people, your neighbors, your coworkers, maybe even your friends, all possessed and controlled by the Mind Flayer. At first they seem normal, but soon the signs appear. Distant behavior, cold stares, robotic movements, and a complete lack of emotion. In season 3, Billy Hargrove becomes the first major character to get infected. After being captured at the steel mill, Billy transforms into the Mind Flayer's enforcer, recruiting others and spreading the infection across Hawkins. But here's where it gets truly horrifying. The flayed aren't just controlled, they're consumed. When the Mind Flayer needs to take physical form, all the infected people melt. Their bodies liquefy into a grotesque red slime that combines into larger, more powerful creatures. One moment they're human, the next they're raw biological material. The flayed remind us that the Upside Down doesn't just bring monsters, it turns people into the hospital monster. Before we get to the spider monster, we need to talk about one of the most grotesque creatures the Mind Flayer creates, the hospital monster. This thing appears in season 3 when two flayed individuals, Bruce and Tom, melt down into a disgusting pile of flesh and bone, then fuse together into a single horrifying mass. This creature attacks Nancy and Jonathan at Hawkins Hospital, and the fight is absolutely brutal. It's insanely strong, lightning fast, and refuses to die. You can stab it, crush it, tear it apart, and it just pulls itself back together like sentient slime. What makes it truly disturbing is how human it still looks. You can actually see the faces of Bruce and Tom visible in the body, like they're trapped inside this nightmare. It's not just scary, it's tragic. The hospital monster shows us exactly how far the Mind Flayer will go, literally melting people down and reshaping them into weapons. It's body horror at its absolute worst. The Spider Monster. This is the final form of the Mind Flayer's plan in season 3, and it's an absolute nightmare. Built from melted bodies of dozens of flayed individuals, this massive creature has thick muscular legs, a hulking central body, and movements that are way too fast for something that size. You can still see human features trapped inside. Bones, faces, limbs, all twisted together. This isn't just a monster, it's a grave made of people who were still alive hours before. During the final battle at Starcourt Mall, it smashes through walls and destroys everything in its path. But the most emotional moment comes when Billy breaks free from the Mind Flayer's control just long enough to sacrifice himself, standing between Eleven and the monster. It's one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the series. Vecna. And finally, we reach the ultimate villain. Vecna, introduced in season 4, this creature changes everything. Before becoming the monster we see, Vecna was Henry Creel, a boy born with terrifying psychic abilities. He became Dr. Brenner's first test subject, known only as Number 1. But Henry was never a victim, he was a killer from the start. Using his powers, he murdered his own mother and sister, framing his father for the crime. Years later, after Eleven unknowingly freed him from his restraints, Henry unleashed a massacre at Hawkins' lab. Eleven fought back, banishing him into the Upside Down where the Dimension's energy transformed him into Vecna. His appearance is pure nightmare. Burned, decayed skin covered in dark veins, exposed muscle and bone, tentacles sprouting from his back, connecting him to the Upside Down's hive mind. His left hand stretched into a long, claw-like appendage. He's no longer human, he's something far worse. Vecna doesn't kill with brute force. He targets people with deep trauma, guilt, loss, or shame. First, he invades their mind, creating vivid personal hallucinations. Then he traps them in a psychic trance, forcing them to relive their worst memories until they can't fight anymore. Finally comes the execution. Bones snap, eyes implode, the body collapses. Each death opens a portal between dimensions. Vecna needs 4 deaths to complete his ritual and merge the Upside Down with Hawkins. His final target is Max, and in one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the series, he succeeds. Max dies. Eleven manages to revive her, but she ends up in a coma and the damage is done. The 4th portal opens and a massive rift splits through Hawkins. Vecna isn't just another monster, he's the mastermind behind everything. The Mind Flayer, the Demogorgons, all of it. He's been pulling the strings from the beginning, and now his plan is almost complete. So there you have it, every major monster from Stranger Things explained. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button.